Before I begin, I would like to thank the Bickel Brewer Law Firm and New York University for hosting this event and providing for our stay in New York. Specifically, we would like to thank William A. Brewer III and John W. Bickel II, Sarah Marshala, Ann Fielder, Andrea Burnett, Travis Carter, NYU President John Sexton, and the NYU debate team, specifically our ombudsman, Ravi and Alex. We would also like to thank our judging panel, those previously mentioned, and Ms. Melissa Maxie Wade, Dr. Scott Dethridge, Mr. Mark Oppenheimer, Ms. Elaine McCardle, and Mr. J. Scott One, and our moderator, David Baker. I'd also like to thank our coach, Russell Rock, and lastly, I thank our worthy opponents and fellow Texans, Plano Senior High School, for an enjoyable and spirited debate. Quoting Charles Ferguson, fellow for science and technology at the Council on Foreign Relations, for nuclear to do nothing more than maintain its current share of global electricity to 2030, 15%, a 1,000 megawatt reactor must be built every 16 days for 21 years. Annual emissions of greenhouse gases are similarly expected to double by 2050. For nuclear energy to offset just a small fraction of those additional 7 billion tons, a 1,000 megawatt reactor will need to come online every 14 days from now to 2050. The affirmative argues that there is currently a ban on reprocessing in the United States. This ban was instituted by Jimmy Carter in 1977. Since the affirmative does not advocate lifting this ban, there can be no construction of reprocessing facilities, and the rest of the debate is moot. However, for argument's sake, we offer further information on the issue. Ronald Reagan lifted that ban in 1981, and so begins our discussion. The affirmative presents nuclear technology as an answer to global warming, the current economic crisis, and nuclear proliferation. According to the affirmative site Pomper, the research, construction, and designing required to complete the first demonstration project for stage 1 development will not occur until between 2020 and 2025. Additionally, nuclear technology is plagued with problems. Nuclear reactors cannot be produced on a mass scale in the United States or worldwide fast enough to even make a dent in global warming or energy supply shortages. The negative counter proposes a renewable energy portfolio mandate, increasing the use of renewable energy to combat these problems. The affirmative proposal to spur construction of next-generation nuclear reactors is unworkable. According to most optimistic assessments, new reprocessing technology is an unproven technology that has not yet progressed beyond the prototype phase and will not be ready for commercial deployment until after 2025. Heresy, the money is already there. Federal loan guarantees for nuclear power plant construction are already offered in the status quo. The Energy Policy Act of 2005 expanded the DOE's loan guarantee program, stipulating that the DOE can cover up to 100% of the cost of any loan and 80% of the cost of any project. The Act also establishes an incentives for Innovative Technologies Fund, giving the DOE unfettered access to these funds. Builders of new nuclear designs receive first-of-a-kind financial incentives that include loan guarantees. More recently, Congress gave the DOE the authority to issue $18.5 billion in loan guarantees for new nuclear plants and $2 billion for, specifically, uranium enrichment projects over the next 2 fiscal years. Any nuclear power company that wants to build a nuclear reprocessing plant is already free to apply for the DOE loan guarantee. Allocating an additional $300 million will not change up anything. Reprocessing has been legal in the United States since 1981, yet no plant has been constructed. Solvency. Even if the plan could be implemented around these laws, licensing opportunities for nuclear power still hinders the process. All nuclear power plant applications must undergo a safety review, an environmental review, and an antitrust review by the NRC. The affirmative does not specify, nor does any author advocate invoked by the affirmative indicate any plan on how to avoid NRC licensing procedures. According to the affirmative's own Loris and Spencer site, the NRC would implement strict and expensive licensing requirements. Logistical impossibilities. Tony Johnson, staff writer for the Council on Foreign Relations, estimates time of construction for a single nuclear reactor is 6 to 10 years. According to Ferguson, the affirmative plan will not be able to build the reactors quickly enough to impact global warming. Construction of a nuclear power plant every 14 days in the United States is a physical impossibility. Compounding the problem, there is a severe shortage of skilled workers to both construct and staff the reactors. Worker shortfalls in the Southeast energy facilities have climbed to 20,000 and are expected to reach 40,000 by 2011 due to already increasing construction. Additionally, construction would be bottlenecked because only a few companies in the world can now make reactor-quality steel, concrete, and other vital components. Japan Steel is the only company in the entire world that can manufacture the steel forgings necessary to contain radioactivity in a reactor, and its single factory can only produce 4 forgings a year. The company is already burdened with years of back orders and new projects. Economic impossibilities. According to Johnson, costs remain the biggest hurdle for the nuclear industry. He estimates that each reactor will cost between $5 and $12 billion. These figures underestimate the actual cost since empirically costs escalate during the construction. The affirmative only restores funding for reprocessing research and the Advanced Fuel Cycle Initiative to $300 million Bush budget request. At such a rate, it would take over 30 years to accumulate the $10 billion in funds necessary to build one nuclear reprocessing plant.